You're watching Drakewing Gaming. Enjoy the video.
Hey guys and gals, Never here from Drakewing Gaming. It's Subby Mount Twitter, the Gaming Drag. Today I'm coming back at you another Let's Play episode of Beasts of the Thorns. So let's go ahead and jump right back into it. Yo, Alarm Chan, you were up, and let's go! I opened my palm, and the spiny bird condensed into a honey-colored mineral in my hand, radiating a slight warmth. We didn't manage to leave the forest before the rain. The forest grew dark, and I couldn't discern the path at all in the dim light. Luckily, the light was still sufficient for the three candid creatures. Ostrom led the way, Amor held my hand in the middle of the group, and Chris brought up the rear. We safely exited the forest. We ended up in the backyard of the fraternity's house. I had no idea there was such a path through the backyard. Luckily, the forest was thick and we didn't get wet, just muddy shoes. I just stepped through the back door into the building and was caught by a busy Darwin. Leave your shoes outside, you filthy beasts. Furthermore, President, today the forest is off limits for activities. How could you bring them in? I have calculated the timing. As long as it doesn't rain, the forest is safe. Our Brotherhood doesn't welcome any privilege. Darwin squints at Chris. And there is too much privilege these days. Do you want to question my intelligence, my ability, my authority, or my status? Pick one and let's talk. The Brotherhood doesn't operate on those things. Despite this, Darwin visibly flinched. He turned his head back to his business, which appeared to be the preparation of the distribution of hunting supplies, only to be seen remotely lifting a tower of dozens of shoeboxes stacked on top of each other. Do you need help? No need. Just take care of yourself. Then he left in a hurry. The tower of overstacked shoeboxes dropped one down, and Darwin didn't care. We exchanged glances, and this wasn't a good sign. Ostrom, as much as we appreciate your help, it doesn't seem right to give us these special treatments. Ostrom didn't answer, only vaguely audible mumbling. There's no time. Just as we were digesting these phenomena, we felt a sweaty odor with heat coming over us, the odor of Bjorn. President, while I respect you beyond all measure, I cannot agree with what you did to Darwin. Sweaty Bjorn appeared at the end of the hallway, looking like he had just finished working out. He picked up the shoebox Darwin had dropped and put it back behind the counter. I know what I'm doing. Darwin's trying hard, but he's just not qualified enough. Bjorn looks at Ostrom. All of us are not worthy enough for you. We left our dirty shoes outside the door and warmed our damp paws by the fireplace in the mead hall. Except for me, they all kept a considerable distance from the flames. I wonder why they preferred to stay far away from the fire. Ostrom sat on a wooden chair some distance away from us, gazing pensively at the flickering flames, while Amor attempted to sneakily put his feet on my shoulder. After I gave his footpad a firm pinch, he backed off. I watched Ostrom's face illuminated by the firelight, the flickering flames casting uncertain shadows, concealing his true emotions. Now, water time. Although I was curious about Darwin's protest earlier, I didn't feel familiar enough with the fraternity to ask any questions. As a newcomer, it's best to be tactful, after all. Silence is golden. As time passed, the dampness on me gradually dried up from the warmth of the fire, but the rainy day fireplace was just too cozy to leave. With nothing else to do, I decided to relax. In the human community where I reside, summers are scorching, but even in winter, fireplaces are rare. Humans prefer sophisticated central heating systems to get through the winter. And fireplaces are a rarity in their communities, so I never imagined a fireplace could be such a fantastic thing. The warm and even heat, the relaxing crackle of burning wood, and the wonderful scent of the firewood, and the slightly damp, chilly, and empty old hall. It created a cozy atmosphere, making it feel like being in a mountain cabin, accompanied by the gradually darkening sky filled with rain clouds, giving it a sense of adventure. Behind me, Amor and Chris were chatting quietly, seeming to enjoy the fireplace more than I did. Feeling left out, I decided to move back a bit and join my friends in their secret conversation. When I moved next to Amor, I immediately heard Amor laugh. See, I told you we couldn't stand being alone. Okay, you guessed it. I owe you a cup of coffee. Don't gamble your friends like that. Chris smiled. Amor is feeling quite jealous of you monopolizing the VIP seat in front of the fire all by yourself. Isn't that good? He's saying that we can't dry our bodies and you're blocking the fire. Referee, protest as a player spreading rumors. You can come forward and sit closer to the fire. It's really cozy. I saw the fox and the big dog exchange worried looks, glancing at each other. In fact, we'd like to get closer, but the fire would dry out our fur. Our fur right now is summer coat, more sensitive to radiant heat, which would evaporate the protective oils and moisture. And my paw pads are quite sensitive to heat. He pitifully showed off his bright red paw pads. I sympathetically touched his paw pads. They're warm, much warmer than my cold fingers. But it's a bit chilly over here for me. You can sit between us. That way you won't be cold. Amor happily shuffled to the right, leaving a seat next to Chris wide open. After thanking him, I climbed in between them. Once settled, he squeezed over to my side, sandwiching me between the two. In this position, I could smell a musky scent, a hint of pheromones released from their fur after being wet. And normally, they're diligent with grooming, and all you can smell is their cologne. But after all, we had just walked a long circle in the forest and got soaked in the rain, so there was a slight scent before we dried off. But I quite like this natural scent. Chris smells more wild, and on Amor you can smell the end notes of the bitter orange perfume he usually sprays. You guys smell nice. Of course, you don't know how much it takes me to maintain the fur every day. I've been a little overcleaned lately, and my fur is a little rough. You exercise every day, which can damage your fur if you shower twice a day. I recommend trying the hair oil from the witch blibwit, made with olive oil and foam flour. It makes your fur silky and shiny with just a little bit each day. I subconsciously touched my helmet. I hadn't washed my hair in weeks, after all. There was nothing to wash it with. But even before, I hadn't paid attention to what I washed my hair with. I'm too picky about cleaning and moisturizing products. Amor was the first to notice that the topic made me feel sad. He nudged me with his head and changed the subject. Now that we're finally here in the Outer Realm, shall we explore around? What's so interesting about the Outer Limits? It's a good show. Beautiful mountains and waters. Everywhere is stunning. My dad used to brag to me about the beauty of the Outlands when I was a kid, but the one he remembered most was Silver Wave Peak. Silver Wave Peak? It was the first winter after he graduated from college, and he and his friend Leo went to challenge the highest peak in the Outer Limits. It was called Silver Wave because the rolling peaks cascaded like silver waves. The sunset and dawn he saw from the peaks of the mountains were very different from what he saw on the ground. Only when you stand at that height can you realize the vastness of the world. So vast that the outside world is just a small corner of it. It was then that he vanished to travel around the world and see the beauty of this unknown world. It wasn't an opportunity for him to get out and meet my mom. So what kind of demon was your mom? Chris smiled slightly and looked at him. Haven't you met my uncle before? Once I and Hess hosted a barbecue party, and you were there. That was at my uncle's place, where I was just staying. Amor gave a look of surprise and dawning realization. Your uncle is human, so you're... He suppressed his surprise, casting a quick glance around to see if anyone might overhear, then looked at Chris with a probing gaze, receiving a nod from the big dog. Chris's uncle was a reserved man, not particularly warm or likable, but I had a fondness for him. Despite his stoic and aloof demeanor, he extended a helping hand to Chris when he needed it most, making him the only elder who truly cared about Chris. It's been a while since I've seen him, and I kind of miss him. It's actually pretty romantic. I'm a bit envious. Our family absolutely doesn't allow such things to happen, but you know, times have changed. This is the rumored family of the Vixen. You can't argue with it. You just have to accept it. I must protest your underestimation. Amor held up a finger to refute Chris, but stammered without context. I looked at Amor curiously. Okay. So, what's the problem? I've seen your family looking pretty normal, huh? Wild Drive Fox is an absolute matriarchal system. That is not a system, Amor protested. It's a kind of respect. We have great respect for the will of the matriarch. It is a sign of respect. They have a higher status for women, and men have a harder life. Excuse me. It's because we men are gentlemen and are more protective of women. I suddenly realized it made me think of Amor's three sisters. Being the youngest, Amor was often summoned to serve. This also made Amor very adept at comforting women, understanding how to please them. Sometimes I feel like he knows too much. More adeptly maneuvered between various women, even using his sister's conflicts to gain some rest time for himself. After starting college, he promptly rented a place off campus, escaping from his sisters. I believe he loves his sisters, even though Amor often complains about them. But he couldn't defy his mother. Until one day when his mother forbade him from playing with me, Amor entered a belated rebellious phase, causing quite a stir in the family throughout the semester, but he eventually found a way to placate his mother. Looking back now, I shouldn't have been surprised that he was a fox. Even in human form, he was cunning and full of schemes. The mead hall suddenly became noisy as several damp members approached the fire, engaging in conversation with Ostrom, who had been silent for a while. Ostrom regained his usual smile and eagerly chatted with the members. Then he interrupted the chat and walked towards us. "How's it going? Is your body drying out?" "It's not bad. The fire's pretty cozy. It's raining hard out there. Why don't you guys stay at the Brotherhood house tonight? There are plenty of rooms to choose from. We'll order takeout for dinner. Do you want tacos or sushi? The Brotherhood is paying for it." Amor didn't hesitate to go for the sushi. Chris had no particular preference for the food. Ostrom asked for advice from other members, and in the end, the sushi was overwhelmingly approved. He used the phone at the counter to order the food and stopped by to get the room key for us. "The room is on the 3rd floor, so feel free to wander around before dinner. I'm going back to the office." Then Ostrom left the mead hall amidst the cluster of members. We also left the hall and wandered around. Where should I go? There's a noise at the end of the 2nd floor hallway. Looks like someone in the trophy room. There's a voice from Ostrom's office. Fraternity doors are open and Moore is leaving the fraternity house. Someone seems to be smoking on the back porch. Huh. Alright, we also let the hall wandered around. Where should I go? Huh. The 2nd floor hallway lights were dim, with a beam of light coming from the trophy room at the end. I crept closer. All I could hear was Chris talking to himself. "Dad. Looks like he's talking to Nud's photo. I want so much to make you proud, to have everyone recognize me as your son. I want to become a hunter like you, but Hess isn't ready yet. It's my fault for getting him involved. But I can't put Hess in danger. He's all I have left. What am I supposed to do? Tell me, Pa." I couldn't find the words. I know Chris and I are very close, closer than my real brother, but I never imagined he would pin all his hopes on me. I dare not come closer. Though Chris talks about me, I know it's a space belonging to a father and son who can never meet again, and I have no right to disturb. So I left quietly. I wandered back into the mead hall, and I was alone. I was sitting in front of the fire, staring at my thoughts. I was not accustomed to the sudden silence of the large fraternity house. It felt like the soul of the building had been drained out of it. I saw the headlights of the car shining in the rainy night outside, and Ostrom hurried out of the office to meet the car, which had been delivered. I heard Ostrom feign annoyance and forced the delivery man to take the tip. And then he headed for the mead hall with 2 large stacks of boxes in each hand. "Dinner's ready. Where's everybody?" He set down the meal boxes and messaged everyone. Just then, Chris came down from the 2nd floor, and a few members also came over from the basement. "Amor messaged me saying he's outside and will be there in 3 minutes. Suggesting we can start eating without waiting for him. What about the others?" And that's where I'm going to pause it, y'all. Thank you all so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, ring that notification bell, and check out our Patreon if you can. It always helps. Before I go, I'm going to give a quick shout-out to our lovely bronze tier patrons. Thank you all for all you do for the channel. We greatly appreciate your support. Thank you to our silver tier patron, Cade Silverman. Thank you going above and beyond. It's greatly appreciated. And thanks to our 3 gold tier patrons, Ziki, Toby, and Blue Wolf Alpha. Y'all are awesome. We love you. Thank you for subbing to Ultimate Tier. Anyway, if y'all want to get your names in the credits, get access to all of our Safe for Work content as little as $5. Also, there's new Not Safe for Work content up on our Patreon, y'all. Anyway, I love you all, and I'll see you all in the next video. Bye-bye!